Hi, today we're going to talk to you about customer loyalty and understanding whether it's customer retention or customer loyalty that drives long-term customer value. And which of those should I be investing in?
Yeah, I mean, according to a lot of research, and there's some research by the likes of Gallup, customers who are loyal to a brand will spend up to 40% more on that brand and shop more regularly. So a loyal customer has greater value than a customer who isn't loyal to a brand. So clearly, the whole issue of loyalty is a major benefit to a business.
And I suppose whilst loyalty and retention both have the objective of keeping customers, loyalty actually suggests that the customers have some form of an emotional attachment to the brand and prefer to buy them even if the price isn't slightly higher than the alternatives.
Yeah, I think again, there's a lot of similarities between what you'd call a retention scheme and a loyalty scheme, but that that emotional connection is one of the biggest differences I think that exists between the two schemes. And I think what you're looking at is those sort of brands that have got loyal customers are more likely to see a greater value and spend from them. And I think that's, if you think about it, a lot of retention schemes are not really designed to create that kind of emotional attachment. They're really just designed to incentivize you to buy more. And in fact, some points make prizes schemes really are just a repeat purchase scheme.
So I suppose then behaviour and customer loyalty aren't necessarily intrinsically correlated, are they? So it's possible to be a regular or a repeat purchaser but not be loyal?
Yeah, I mean, you've only got to look at, the supermarket sector is a really good example of that. The number of supposedly loyal weekly shoppers that left the big four supermarkets to go to, Aldi and Lidl is a really good example that just because you exhibit repeat purchase behaviour doesn't mean that you are loyal.
And I suppose the Kantar research that was recently provided suggested that 71% of consumers claim that incentivised programmes don't actually make them loyal at all. So how do we manage that in terms of what kind of programme we should be doing to generate loyalty?
I think a lot of this is terminology, isn't it? I mean, what is being called a loyalty scheme, as we said, isn't really necessarily designed to create that emotional loyalty. A lot of the incentivized loyalty schemes in particular, are just really encouraging you to keep buying. So I think there's a lot of confusion around terms. What we would call a loyalty scheme would be one that, not only affects the behavior, but also affects the emotional attachment to the brand. And I think, a lot of classic retention schemes aren't trying to do that. They are trying to engender, obviously, first of all, you don't leave, but also to get you to spend more. And I think that's where the sort of the confusion lies, is that what you would call loyalty isn't necessarily really designed to do that.
So I suppose in the digital age, with customers that have got endless choices, customers, I suppose, are constantly being incentivised to move from one brand to another. And there's this constant churn that's going on. I suppose loyalty programmes, if they're based on rewards rather than incentives, can reduce customer churn, but they won't necessarily increase customer loyalty.
Well, it depends, I guess, what the reward is, isn't it? If you're giving me a thank you for my for my custom, then potentially that could be a way of keeping loyalty. And that could come more in the case, perhaps, of some form of added value, some kind of recognition of your loyal sort of being a loyal customer. But if all you're really doing is saying, if you buy this, you'll get a point, and if you get enough points, you can get something else, that doesn't necessarily give you a loyal customers. It's the classic example. If you think, I'd say my dog is a pretty loyal animal to me, But if you stood in front of him with a bag of treats, he'll probably go over to you, and he'll stay with you until you keep giving him treats. And when the treats are over, or he's had enough of the treats, he'll come back to me. So that's not really much different to how incentivized loyalty schemes work. You're not engendering an emotional attachment. You are just incentivizing me to buy.
So I suppose, unlike retention, then a customer loyalty program is measured by how attached your customers are to you as a brand, and how likely they are, I suppose, to share the brand to share the brand with others.
Yeah, so I think if you were running a loyalty scheme where you were trying to build that emotional attachment, you wouldn't just look at the impact on sales and sales growth. You'd also look at some of the softer measures. So you often see things like net promoter scores coming into the measurement criteria. Some form of customer satisfaction ranking will come into the measurement as well. So you're probably looking at a broader range of measures if you're trying to measure loyalty in that emotional as well as that behavioural way.
I suppose then loyal customers, we're saying, will probably buy more frequently than other customers, and because they're more closely aligned to your brand. So creating loyal customers has to be the goal of every business, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, you can obviously have loyal customers that unloyal customers that buy a lot from you that aren't necessarily loyal. So I think the true measure is things like, for example, a loyal customer might be willing to pay more for a product rather than just buy the cheapest product. That was very much the case when we were working with Barclays with their insurance product. Their loyal account holding customers were more willing to buy a more expensive insurance product than you could buy perhaps through the price comparison sites, because they were loyal to the brand and they believed that the brand offered to them more than other brands out there.
Great. So in future summaries, we will actually try and give you some indication as to what those tips and tricks might be for developing a good loyalty program. But in the meantime, if you need any help with customer loyalty or retention, we're here to help.